Peace, peace, and peace. Hope everyone's doing well and good day. Yeah, dig it, right? It's been a while since I actually made a video. I usually do lives, right? But I'm doing some different stuff these days. I'm very busy with one-on-ones, with the 7-day intensive program. So it's like I really don't have a lot of time to do live. So I just decided to do a video today, especially because I've seen some videos lately that sort of, I won't even say disturb me, but I just felt like I wanted to address, some of these ideologies. Like, you have a lot of these self-proclaimed therapists, and this is not to get into debates with any of these people or anything. This is just for more clarity. All right, clarity. I know from lived experience what it's like to deal with a narcissist. Lived experience. I was with one of them knuckleheads for almost seven years. You feel me? And I went through the worst with these people, right? With this person. You know what I mean? And so now with the educational aspect, I believe myself to be an expert in this field. Absolutely. No one can tell me any different. I don't care about your paperwork. I don't care about what online certificates you got, to make you this self-proclaimed therapist or whatever. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the information that's being passed on is ridiculous. Like, I heard some really disappointing information today. A very disappointing statement that was made from someone who I sort of admired. And still, I won't say I don't admire them anymore, because I know people are human. You know what I'm saying? But the statement was, you can relate to people who have been through something that you haven't been through. And I think that's ignorant. How in the world are you going to relate to somebody and you haven't gone through what they've gone through? Just the idea that you can relate and understand somebody's pain that you haven't experienced is really it's like, I don't know, it's very egotistical. It's selfish. It's something that I wouldn't advise. I wouldn't advise you to continue to say that, because when you talk about grief, if you haven't experienced certain levels of grief, specifically the type of grief that an individual has gone through, don't tell that person, "Oh, I understand. I get where you're coming from." No, you don't. No, you don't. You have no clue. You have no clue. How in the world are you going to tell me that you understand something that I've been through that you haven't experienced? That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. And this is the ideology of a lot of these so-called therapists. They believe just because they read up on something, they study a little bit, that they can tell someone who's actually gone through it how to get through it, how to deal with it. That doesn't make sense to me. And that's something that I've experienced as a kid. I've lived a very, very rough, abusive life. You feel me? I've been a very angry teen. You feel me? And so it's like I've gone to a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, and I began to resent these people, because these people are trying to tell me how to maneuver through a life that they've never maneuvered through. They're trying to tell me, give me tips and strategies on how to live a life that they've never experienced. That doesn't even make sense to me. How? How do you consciously do that? How can you honestly believe that you're helping someone by giving them advice on how to make it through a situation or how to deal with the situation that you've never gone through or dealt with? That doesn't even make sense. And so this that thought takes me to understanding narcissism. I've done a lesson through a live on understanding narcissism, and basically more specifically, it mentions how many different types of narcissists there are. All right. Well, according to top specialists who I study worldwide, right? According to these specialists, there's only one agreed upon type of narcissist. That's narcissistic personality disorder. There's only one. Even according to the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders, edition 5, it is agreed upon that there's only one diagnosis, NPD. However, there are two types under NPD that are recognized. That's an overt narcissist. That's the narcissist that's over the top. That's the grandiose narcissist. That's the narcissist that thinks they're better than everybody. Everybody wants to be like them. Everybody wants them. You know what I mean? They're very boisterous and they're easy to recognize because they're loudmouths. You know what I mean? And then there's the covert, the undercover, the sneaky, the vulnerable narcissist, the one who cries, the one who plays you with guilt and different things of the sort, right? Now, there are, in fact, though, traits. There are narcissistic traits, and these sometimes are mistaken for types, all right? Everybody has narcissistic traits. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, we all have a dark side. We just don't all resort to living like that, right? And one of the traits I want to speak on really quickly that is in line with what I'm speaking on today is the cerebral narcissist. The cerebral narcissist is that narcissist that thinks they're so smart. They use education as a weapon. They articulate their vocabulary specifically to speak above people. These are the people who think they're so smart, who think that they know everything, that they don't even have to go through a situation to know about it, to be able to speak about it. These are these type of people. Cerebral narcissists. Don't forget that. These are the type of people who thinks their education on a subject makes them an expert, though they have never been through it. That doesn't even make sense. How do you think you're an expert on something that you've never experienced? How can you tell somebody who's lost a child, someone who's lost a loved one, when you've never lost a loved one or you've never lost a child, but you can tell them, oh, I get where you're coming from. I understand where you've been. I know what you feel. No, you don't. And it's very ignorant for you to even say anything like that. It would be best if you didn't say anything. So I'm noticing on this TikTok, on YouTube, all these different social media sites, you have individuals who are watching a lot of videos, who are doing a little bit of study, who haven't experienced some things, and now they become experts. You even have single people telling people how to live married lives. How in the world are you telling somebody how to live a married life and you ain't married? It don't make sense. That's that daggone egotistical, cerebral, narcissist type stuff. You think your education puts you above everybody else, makes you an authority on subjects that you're not. You're not an authority on something that you haven't experienced. I don't care what you tell yourself. You're not an authority. It's ignorant. It doesn't even make sense. And you're confusing people. And you're offending people. You're telling someone you understand what they've been through and you've never been through it, so you're downplaying their grief. You're downplaying what exactly they've gone through. Even with narcissistic behaviors or narcissistic relationships, you're telling an empath or anyone who's dealt with a narcissist that though I have never dealt with a narcissist, I can tell you what you've been through because I understand. You don't understand anything. You don't understand. You can't possibly understand because this is not just a regular toxic situation. This is not just a regular toxic situation or toxic relationship. This is something way deeper. And the fact that you have the nerve to believe that you are an authority to the extent that you can advise or give therapy or coaching to people who have been through something that you haven't been through, you probably need to sit down. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me, and it's offensive. That's something that I dealt with. Like I said, when I was younger, I used to look at some of these therapists like the nerve, the audacity of you, the audacity for you to try to tell me how I feel how I feel in accordance to a situation that you've never experienced. Come on, man, we got to do better, all right? And this is only part one, because I'm about to run my mouth on a lot of different subjects today. You feel me? I'm about to run my mouth. This is part one. I'm going to be posting. I won't be doing a live today, but this is just as good, all right? I'm telling you, I got you. So don't forget that. Cerebral. It's easy to remember because it's cerebral. Cerebellum, it speaks about the brain. These are those cocky individuals, these egotistical individuals who think that they're so smart that they can advise people on a subject or in a situation that they've never gone through. It doesn't even make sense to me. But anyway, y'all hold tight. I'll be right back in a little bit, all right? All right, peace.